Welcome to the stream. My name is Hal. Going to be looking back on Blackburn Rovers against Sheffield United. Not a game that I particularly enjoyed watching. I'm sure, unless you're a Rovers fan, you're feeling exactly the same way. So if we start right at the beginning, Bogle came in. I can say straight off the bat, I don't think Bogle looked himself today. I'm sure many will agree with that. He will get back there. Egan, he also came back in as well following his suspension, and he was named captain. February Championship Player of the Month, Jackie Longthrow. Jack Robinson kept his place. No real surprise with Max Lowe at left wing back. Fleck, Berger, Norwood across the midfield with Iliman and Dye, 11 goals and 8 assists in all competitions before this game. And Ollie McBurney up front too. Doyle, I was quite surprised. Tommy Doyle, after his impressive performance against Spurs, was on the bench alongside fellow Man City loanee James McAtee and my star man from Tottenham, actually, Ben Osborne. He was also on the bench. So interesting to see. Also interesting to see virus-stricken Kieran Clark back amongst the subs. Always encouraging. We need more bodies, more options. And Rovers, of course, they had a strong side put out against Leicester, that extra day's rest, time to prepare after a successful FA Cup exertion away at the Foxes, and they picked a very similar side as well. If you just want to get me your thoughts on the lineup while I go through the first half and what you made of it when you first saw it, did you think the midfield was right? Did you think that Hecky got things correct today? Because in that first half, and I will go through it, I actually thought United played quite well. And that's despite a really early goal for the home side. In fact, we'll get straight to it. 1-0, Rovers on 5 minutes. A good counter-attacking move after the Blades had been looking threatening. Shout for a penalty, actually, after a handball, not even considered by ref Josh Smith. Then we saw really odd positioning, I thought, from Basham. Got caught on the left, didn't know which man to go with, moved left, then right, then ended up doing nothing, really. Didn't do anything to actually stop number 3, Harry Pickering, who struck across the face of goal on his left. A perfectly executed counter-attack from the home side. Sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and say that. Norwood and Fleck couldn't get back as well. And the pace from the men in blue and white for this goal, pouring forward, it was so evident for all to see. They just looked like they really wanted it. Absolutely disastrous start. But then after that, it did get a little bit better. We had a shot from Sander Berger on 10 minutes following a decent layoff on the left, edge of the box effort. Worth a pop from the big Norwegian, but saved easily low down by Piers in the Rovers goal. He wasn't going to have too much to do, certainly second half, but the response to going behind, always crucial. And Sheffield United had a bit of the ball. And on 13 minutes, Max Lowe crossed, probably overhit the cross because it landed to his fellow wing-back, Jayden Bogle, which I never think is the aim of a cross wing-back to wing-back. Bogle did all right in this instant, actually. Got to the byline, but crossed it kind of to no one. It was just into a dangerous area. Hit a couple of Rovers defenders. Could have gone anywhere, but the way that the cookie was crumbling and the ball was crucially landing in this game, it wasn't going to land at the feet of a Sheffield United player. Kind of all the 50-50s didn't really break and go our way today, but it landed comfortably in the hands of the goalkeeper, Piers, who's kept 6 clean sheets prior to this match. Make it 7 now this season. A safe pairs of hands. Sorry, I think that's actually worse than what we just witnessed. Rovers were defending really well as a collective. But the point is, in the first half, after they scored, they were kind of on the back foot. Sander was playing box to box, getting into the opposition area, dropping very deep to collect the ball sometimes as well. I saw him as the furthest midfielder back in front of the Blades' defence on a few occasions, first and second half. And as we saw, Paul Heckingbottom was on the sidelines. He was watching, ear pods in ears, obviously, from the stands, serving his touchline ban for kicking an electronic rectangle. I think that's a sentence I've never said before. Anel, a really big miss. A really big miss. Straight away in the early throws of this encounter at Ewood, I was saying, God, we need him back. And I think we did. I think right throughout the piece, you'll go on and say, yeah, Anel might have made a difference here defensively. There was a chance. United have 18 set-piece goals this season so far, the second most in the league after Millwall's 21, and it was from a set-piece, a corner on 20 minutes from the right that Jackie Longthrow headed towards goal, cleared away amidst a flurry of bodies, and the Blades left men forward as well following this because it was clear to a throw, and Jackie Longthrow on the left, towel involved, was going to chuck it back in, and United just couldn't do anything with it. Rovers again winning the ball, safely clearing. And the home side, I thought, from this sort of mild pressure, it wasn't anything, we hadn't turned the cooker up too high, but the home side looked comfortable. But United weren't panicking at the same time first half. It was patient build-up in our attacks. And maybe that's sometimes a little bit frustrating. And you think, we've gone a goal down. Let's kind of just go for it. Go up through the gears. Go for the juggernaut. But it was patient stuff. Fleck had a shot on 23, following another long throw, blocked as it was goal-bound, another Rovers foot getting in the way. It seemed like they had men everywhere at the back. And it seemed like they could also hit us on the break at any moment, first and second half. As you know, we had to go searching for the equaliser. It was much more hitting us on the break in the first, because actually in the second, and we will get to this, Rovers just controlled things. There was another chance. McBurney was putting himself about first half, and Basham went on a lovely run, actually. Maisie, skillful. If you count it, he ran past 5 players, missed his chance to shoot on his stronger right, cut back to take the shot on his left from close range and tamely hit it straight at Piers. But it was United in the ascendancy kind of at this point. Despite United's response, it was so obvious that one loss of the ball, a misplaced pass or two, and Blackburn could attack dangerously. And they did exactly that when Tyrese Dolan, who I thought was very busy, hit the post on the right. A fabulous strike. It was powerful. It rattled the frame of the goal on 27 minutes from outside the area, and that easily could have been 2-0. On 31 minutes, Basham had another shot high and over the goal after decent work on the right from Bogle. It broke for Bash. He had time, but he did what Fat Joe will tell you was a good idea, but he leaned back, and that is really the worst thing you can do when you're trying to hit a ball. You get over on top of it and over it, it'll stay down, but he skied it. Frustrating times for the Blades, and United were mostly attacking on the left in the first half, but I just kind of picked out some of those highlights which did come down the right. And Bogle, lucky not to go in the book on 36, pulled Dolan down, then kicked the ball away. Lucky boy. But Josh Smith kept his cards in his pockets. And this is a ref who's given 106 yellows in just 25 games this season prior to the match kicking off. Never once reffing a Blades win this season. This is 4th match of ours. And in terms of consistency, I'm going to ask you this question. Did it actually help that Blackburn kept a fairly similar side to the one that beat Leicester City? They looked a very cohesive unit. United had a side that was quite different. The team we put out against Spurs, in that game, we had a midfield which had never played a single second of first-team football together. And yes, I know it worked, and it worked well, but is the chopping and changing helping? Is it unavoidable? You know, we heard about the virus going through the camp. Blackburn also, the extra day's rest for Rovers. Did that make a significant difference? 24 hours, a long time in football. Rovers appealed for a penalty on 42 minutes. You've got to do a lot, though, to get a Josh Smith penalty this season. He's only given 3, although one of those was for Norwich against United earlier in the season at the Lane. And the ball just wouldn't drop for us. And in the final few minutes of the first, Berger and Bogle tried to make things happen, but Rovers defended stoically. United won a corner on the right. Norwood then took one on the left on 45 to Fleck, left-footed option, left it for him. And after waiting an eternity for the match ball to come back, Fleck delivered. Bash had a great chance, but it eluded him, and Sam Gallagher broke. Laid it off to Buckley, then Thomas, who got it to Dolan, and he missed a great chance at the far post on his right. And that could have, again, been 2-0 Rovers. Only 1 minute was added on, and a big half-time team talk was required. And I think there was a big half-time team talk. I think it came from John Dahl Tomasson. We got into the second half, no changes for either side to kickstart that second period. And you heard before the game how Blackburn are really susceptible to conceding goals in the second half, yet United did not do enough in a really disappointing, ugly, scrappy second half. Basham went in the book on 47 for his challenge on Dolan. Dolan wanted more. It was a high tackle, not intentional, I don't think, from Basham, just caught Dolan on the shin pad, kind of reminiscent of Baldock on Perisic in midweek. And Blackburn started the second well and at a frantic pace. Plenty of pressure, shots blocked, crosses and corners. The Ewood Park faithful were getting behind them as well in full voice. Just kind of scrappy defending from United. Backs to the wall. And on 57, Buckley again, he had a rasping drive from the edge of the area and he fired over. And that was really the only time that the pressure was finally kind of off. The question would be for how long? United hadn't made their dominance count in the first half. And whatever John Dahl Tomasson said at half-time was working. It was all one-way traffic. Blackburn having all the possession. And not just possession for possession's sake, but dangerous possession. And Ndiaye, I thought, was getting absolutely no support. There were times he just looked so lost, trying to do Skillerman and Ndiaye things, but losing the ball. And he actually lost the ball on the left. Sami Smodric had 2 chances when that ball eventually got to him from Ndiaye losing it. Blocked well twice by United at the back. Smodric then had another shot outside the area. It hit the bar. A brilliant effort. It was dipping, but not quite enough. With Wes beating all ends up, and unlucky from the attacking midfielder. I mean, he's not the kind of player that, particularly as an away fan, you're endeared to. But I think he's a talented player, and it was screaming out United for a substitution at this point. And Hecky responded on the hour mark. McAtee on for Fleck, wasn't Fleck's day at all. Baldock on for Bogle, who I've already said wasn't quite Jayden Bogle today. Then Basham was lucky, really lucky not to get sent off on 63 minutes. Blackburn Rovers players surrounded Josh Smith, who stuck to his guns and gave a free kick following a Basham foul that really, it would have been curtains, going down to 10 men. It was already like we were playing against more men. It just seemed like there was more blue and white, not colours I like, everywhere. Basham lunged in after losing the ball and went in on Pickering. And it was actually really high on the ankle, and it should have been a yellow, and that would have been a second yellow, and Bash would have gone. But he stayed on, and then we saw a sub, Lowe off, Osborne on, like-for-like swap at left wing back on 64 minutes. It was just chalk and cheese, though. The first and second half performance from United. Credit to Blackburn. They did enough first half. They did enough. And then they upped the ante second half. And if that was their game plan, well, it was executed to perfection. A late challenge from Norwood on Dolan at 67. He went into the book. No idea why Ollie was complaining. It was not a clever tackle. Maybe just frustrated. It was actually quite an aggressive performance from the Blades. Not really like us. Again, maybe frustration from the whole 11. Smodric fouled McAtee, and that was a promising break on the 70th minute. So I was slightly annoyed about that. Right, he took his yellow. He pulled the shirt of the Man City live wire loanee and went into the book. And the Blades hadn't had a single attempt in the second half by the 70th minute. Berg finally had one. It was a real half chance hitting a shot over, but it was nothing worth writing home about. And then on 73 minutes, McBurney steered a shot towards goal, but didn't get the connection he was after. It was, in the end, like a back pass after the cross-come shot from Jackie Long throw. The Norwood taking corners thing to the back post, because we saw him take one at the back post of Egan, and it's just Egan again. It didn't get the connection it wanted. But I think United got to do something different there. When Norwood's been taking corner after corner and occasionally leaving it to Fleck, but largely it's Norwood taking them, looking for Egan. When Osborne's on, let Osborne take the corners, because he takes a really mean set piece. Also, if he's on and there's a pen, just give it to Osborne. Another sub and a change of tactics this time. Sharp came on for defender Basham in the 75th minute. Maybe that was a case of let's not get Basham in the book again. And Doyle was brought on for Norwood. He would also take over corner duties. And I'd have bitten your hand off for a draw at this point. Heading into the final 10 minutes, I'd have absolutely bitten your hand off. It was not a good display second half from United. I want to give special mention to Carter and Hyam at the back for Blackburn Rovers, winning most things in the air. They look like a really formidable partnership at the back. And this was a painful second half to watch. And one of the reasons it's really frustrating, it's such a contrast to our performance against Blackburn at home earlier in the season, where we comprehensively outclassed them. And not too different in terms of the 11 against the 11. Different, but not completely different. And yet this was such a different display. Egan picked up a booking on 89 minutes, quite a blatant one. His 6th of the season, pulling his man down around 15 yards from halfway by the touchline. I thought Josh Smith got a lot right, but he also got some big decisions wrong, but they kind of went in our favour, the ones he got wrong, like the Basham one, which definitely should have been a red. But in general, I thought it was probably the best refereeing display from Josh Smith that I've ever seen. It's not a high bar, but there was a pause in play on 90 minutes when an incident occurred, I think in the home end with someone in the crowd. I don't know what happened. If you do know what happened, you can let me know, but I hope all concerned were okay and received the necessary medical attention if that's what it was. 5 minutes were added on, of course, with that break it ended up being more. And I've witnessed some really disappointing days at Ewood Park, and I started thinking about those over the years. I recall being furious in the 06-07 Premier League season. It was Morten Gamps Pedersen scored what I still think to this day was an unfair free kick against us late on. I was right behind it, absolutely seething. I left that game so angry. Last season, so angry. A cold, wet, awful away day after a great Brewster goal started it off so promisingly. But anyone who went to that game will just remember having pee all over your shoes from just disgusting. Oh, it was just horrible. United didn't deserve anything second half. Let's not try and paint this in any other way. Gallagher nearly scored as well again. And could have, I've said this 3 times, could have made it 2-0 to Blackburn. It was a deflected shot on at 95. Wes saved, and actually the sting was kind of taken out of it, really. It might have been going wide. I'd probably need to see it again. Final chance for United fell on 97. A free kick on the left after a bit of United pressure. Doyle fouled, and the kick was taken by the sub himself, cleared by Ben Brereton. Diaz, the Chilean, at the near post for a corner, which was the worst corner, wasted by Doyle. And that was all she wrote. Referee blew full-time whistle. Everyone was up, and the corner just straight onto the roof of the net. Absolutely awful. He punched the corner flag. I don't understand that, how professional footballer can do a corner like that. It's fresh legs as well. I played football at one of the lowest levels humanly possible, and I took all the corners from my team. I never once did that. Rotherham, Coventry and Watford have all kept us out on the road this season. Of course, West Brom managed it in the League Cup too when I was there at the hottest game since time began. But not many teams have done that. Blackburn can now be added to the list. Do we get a little bit worried? Sheffield United have won just one of the 6 away games in 2023. Is it a case of earlier on in the season we were kind of getting away with it? Bad performances, getting results. Now is that catching up on us? Reading, Luton, Sunderland and Norwich in the league next 4. Tricky run in. We face, of course, Blackburn Rovers again in the FA Cup. I think when we play well, we've got to do quite a lot. Like against Tottenham, we played well. We deserved the result. We didn't play well today. You're not going to get a result. Not now. It seems to have changed. So what did you make of it? Let's go back through some of the comments in the chat on today's performance. Blackburn Rovers deserved their win, says Joe. Sam says we didn't deserve to win. We aren't ready to go up. Sick of having these 12:30 kickoffs. They give incentive to Borough when we screw up. Absolutely spot on, Chris. I am really sick of these games being changed for TV. I love a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. Peter, you absolute legend. You've already supported the channel with the watch along earlier today. Roll on, Reading. Absolutely. That used to be the game I always did, the closest game to where I used to live. Always seems to be cold and a night game, Reading. I don't know quite why, but Peter, thank you very much for that. You're absolute legend. And also says we had our chances but didn't take them. I still feel that the wheels haven't come off yet. We will come back from this. We absolutely will come back from this. We were too passive. The pre-match comments were alarming, saying it's a dangerous game. His pre-match comments could have been better. Do you actually put any stock in that? Do you think the Blades players care what Paul Heckingbottom says in his pressers? PN UK TV, really poor second half, but we move on. Be all good on Tuesday. It better be. It better be. It's a big game. I personally agree with you. I think we will win. And I think it'll be fine. Kevin Gage's waffle was too much to take. I turned the commentary off in the end. I'm not agreeing. By the way, I don't read these until I put them on screen. Chef Paul said, had enough chances to win that game, but fired everything at the goalkeeper. If only Bash had scored, it would have been the goal of the season. It would have been. Really ran that mazy run past 5 players. To be fair, their counter-attack was excellent. It really was. It really was. I can't understand how Doyle got dropped after his man-of-match performance in midweek. Maybe because we're not in the inner circle. He wasn't 100%. I don't know. What did you make of the lineup? I asked you that as my first question. Chris says Paul Heckingbottom got the lineup wrong, and the subs today actually made us worse. Not sure what they were trying to do with the alternative shape, but they resorted to hoofing it up. Yeah, they did. I thought Osborne did well when he came on. Played well first half. Starting lineup was fine, says Simon. And yeah, because we played well first half, you can look at that and say, yeah, Doyle ran his lungs out against Spurs, but I think he should have started today and been rested in the second half rather than the other way around. Agree that we missed Anel. No choice, of course, with Anel, although I do think the booking Anel got to actually miss this game was an absolute joke. Who in the chasing pack will take advantage? I mean, I really hope Borough lose. Everything that worked for us in the first half, we forgot. Yeah, absolutely. Still not taking our chances. You've got to take chances away from home. Absolutely pathetic second half. First half, we were honestly the better side by a mile. We were, and I hope what I said actually reflected that, because I think we were, but, quite was there even a second half. Don't worry, I'll be at the lane in person for the Luton game. Good. Travelling for that one. I shall try and bring some good luck with me. Hope you have safe travels. Hope you really enjoy it. Craig says, should have had a straight red as well. How he got away with that tackle is beyond me, and he was already on a yellow. Championship referees are pathetic. I've made it clear that I agree with that. as well, even though it would have gone against the Blades. But yeah, I thought Josh Smith got that wrong. Yeah, to be fair, Ozzy is the best of a bad bunch when he was brought on. He was. Ben Osborne, you know what you're going to get with Ben Osborne. He gives his absolute all. I think like we found his position, haven't we? It's left wing back. And is there a case for him starting the next game? Don't know. Things to consider. Really frustrating day at the office. We move on. Hopefully, we're just looking back on that as a blip. I don't want to be talking about in a few weeks that was the start of a bad run. I don't think that'll happen. I think Hecky will put it right. Got quite a bit to do. They've got to have some home truths. And they've got to look at themselves in the mirror after that second half performance, because they showed in the first half they're better than that. On we go, and we'll, of course, be back with loads more videos during the week. Thanks for watching.